the whole thing, okay? I apologize. I'm so sorry. I was on the impression that there was audio the whole time. Don't worry. It's all fine. Basically, I made a very long introduction, just to give you a couple of tips on how to approach new clients. But I'm gonna go on it again, okay? It's really not that big of a deal. So a few weeks ago, I have made a video where I talked about some communication strategies and how to approach first-time clients. It was this video about the 80-20 rules. Funny enough, that rule kind of applies to this video as well. In fact, I have about 70-80% positive results in converting new clients into paying leads. Of course, new clients that then get back at me, okay? Because you still have to consider that a lot of clients simply are not interested in getting back. They just send out inquiries to have a price range, and they're not concerned about the type of service that you could offer. So let's make that clear. Now, also the success rate, it's probably due to the fact that people kind of know me. They have been probably referred by other colleagues. So, they try to approach me only, how can I put this? They don't want to look bad, especially if it's a referral, they don't want to look bad and they're willing to listen. Put it this way, okay? Now, with old clients, I still use this PDF that I discussed as kind of a refresher. Old clients usually don't need it, but if I haven't been working with a client for, say, 2 or 3 months, I'll send the PDF just as a refresher so that they know at least what they have to do and which kind of material they have to submit, and a little bit, remember about payment and all that kind of stuff. Once again, it's very important that you understand that clients come to you, which means that clients need you. And you should use this leverage to kind of dictate the rules. This is not in order to make a power play. It's simply something that you should do in order to manage the conversation, because the moment you as a designer manage the conversation, you're doing your client a favor, believe it or not. This is simple common sense, okay? Otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, the client can also come to your own office and make the renderings themselves. So we came up with the idea for this PDF in an effort to kind of automate a little bit a task that we were doing over and over, which was, giving the same information all the time. And actually, in a way, this helped us a lot, because for the most part, it was just trimming the fat. We would see those who were interested in the type of service that we were offering. We would see those who were willing to listen to us. We would also give some sort of price range for people to understand if that was feasible for them or not. And, very often it turned out the price wasn't actually really the problem. They actually really enjoyed reading all the type of service and the way we were addressing the project in the PDF. But anyway, we'll get back to this a little bit later. So I need to make sure that you understand that this PDF that I'm going to share with you, you're gonna get it, yes? It is used in order to grow your client base. You shouldn't use this to approach new clients. So do not take this PDF and tomorrow send it to people and say, I want to work for you. Here, read this PDF. It's not going to work. They're going to look at you and they're going to think you're stupid. Okay? We've tried that. So that's probably, I'm going to leave it to that. So usually when clients approach us, they do it via email. And what I do, I reply to the email very quickly saying, thank you very much for getting in touch, all that kind of stuff. I will tell them included there is a PDF guide that you should refer to in order to understand our process. Then I'll tell them, I'll make sure to explain everything again. and I'll tell them, send us the documentation as described in the PDF. I'll try to refer to the PDF very often so that they will read the PDF, or at least try to read the PDF. Then I will say, and once we agree on the type of work to do, our account manager will get in touch with you, to sign the contract and to pay the deposit. So, very important points that I'm making in this part is to know that we're not going to start the project without a contract and without a deposit. And also that an account manager is going to get in touch. Now, I've been in the position where I was on my own and an account manager was going to get in touch for the contract, although I did not have an account manager. No, don't judge me on this, but what I've learned in my own experience, I might be wrong, is that clients, if they know that you're on your own, they will use that to kind of like see how long you bother them before giving up in terms of like pursuing or chasing payments, okay? And this is very important. Actually, I'm going to make a video as a suggestion from a friend of mine on Facebook on how to chase payments and how to make sure that people pay you. Because the moment you get on that and you know how it works, you will have no problem. Or you will have very little problem, but still very calculated and not considerable in a way. So I hope this is clear. If you have any questions or anything, we can hear you now. Okay, everything okay. If you guys want to ask me anything, I will be reading the questions from time to time, okay? For now, I have my notes so that at least I can keep it fast and I don't have to have you hanging all the time. Okay, so this strategy of using this PDF, it works even better when dealing with, say, real estate agents or real estate people, developers, all that kind of side of the profession. And simply because they are used to work with a structure, whilst architects sometimes, even if you send them the PDF, they might have some weird requests that in a way it's faster for you to get on the phone and understand, their requests. And sometimes maybe their ideas are much more complicated than the actual practical work that you have to do. So getting on the phone and getting it one-to-one directly on the phone with the architect will help you, okay? Always try to get either on the phone or on Skype with the client will raise your chances to close the deal. Because in a way, this is all you have to care about, at least in the very beginning with new clients, to close the deal and to start the project, okay? This is key. So, before I get into the PDF, please do not copy it, okay? We are growing as a family. I mean, me, my channel, you guys. We are about 1,700, almost 1,700 people. All of those who follow me, it's because they are looking for some sort of help or confirmation in what we do. So understand that even if 10% of you guys are going to copy this PDF, tomorrow this PDF is going to be in the inbox of all the architects that are looking for renders. Don't do that. Don't be lazy, okay? Take this document that I give you, try to understand the function that this document has, hack it, okay? Use it for yourself, change it, make it better. If you do make it better, let me know how you make it better so that, I can also improve for myself. Because, of course, this is a feedback loop. You tell me what you think, I can test it, and we can see how it comes, it comes out. Again, we are also testing some new things. I don't want to share them yet because I don't know if they work. But if they do, I will make sure to make an updated version of this very video. Because, if I find something that works and that I can share with you guys, we can all benefit from it. I believe in this 100%, okay? So now what's gonna come next is structure. What do I mean by that? Start to be used to the idea to deal with structure. Having a structure will help you setting some sort of rules in the negotiation, in the communication with the client, which are going to help you in case, say, an issue escalates, okay? I hope this is all. I'm going to upload it at the end because I'm still using it as notes, and if I go through it, I'm replying to your question, Tommy. The PDF will be uploaded shortly after the video is uploaded. I'll put it in the description link. There will be this PDF so that you guys can download it, okay? So, okay. So the PDF, it's a very simple document that, you know, in theory, if you can manage, should be printed out, signed up, scanned, and sent back, okay? So you start like a normal email within the PDF. Dear Mr., dear Mrs., this is tailor-made, of course, yeah? We are thrilled to have the chance to work with you on this project, and we thank you for reaching out. We strive to provide you with the best service possible, therefore we require some information and documentation about your project in order to continue working. As a starter, please upload here. Usually with our company we have a server, otherwise sometimes if clients have issues, we ask them to upload with a Dropbox link so that things can be updated and we can always keep an eye on them. Please upload all the technical information, PDF, DWG, 3D files, etc. As well as all the images that you like from our previous work and that you would like us to use as reference. Now this part, it's very important. A lot of people will approach you telling you, I want this type of rendering. And probably you have no idea how to do that because this is not the type of work that you do. Now, trying to emulate somebody else's work can be a very good training exercise for you to grow your skills. But if you do that on a commercial job and it might end up taking you longer than you need to actually deliver that kind of job, you might put yourself in trouble. So do consider that carefully. Unless, you have a team of people that can help you out and can experiment on that. But for the most part, I would say, please do use one of our images as a reference. If the client says, but I don't like any of your images, then say, I'm sorry, this is all I can do. And this then needs to be one of the things that you should go and improve at a later stage, saying okay, I have a client that comes to me that wants to have this image. I don't know how to do it. Can I make it so that next time I'm prepared? This should be the right attitude, okay? Don't jump into, okay, we'll try to do it, because if the result then doesn't fulfill the desire of the client, you have lost a new client and you might also risk to get a bad name from that client, which, might say to his colleagues, don't go to those guys because they're terrible. This is the difference between understanding, value, like real value, and money value, okay? A lot of people tend to do a lot of work just because they see money, but actually in that case money can endanger you in a way. Good. Then I tell them, please upload also written description with some key points that we can discuss live, either via Skype or over the phone in case we cannot meet in person. Now, all the time myself, I try to meet my clients in person. Of course, if they're international, I try to either Skype or phone with them. This is very important. You have a higher likability, if that's a word, to get the job if you talk to the person live, okay, Skype, phone, than by writing emails. At least in my case, I found out that I managed to get more clients if I do that instead of replying via email. Ideally, we would need a face-to-face via Skype or at least over the phone to establish the real scope of your work and how many images this will require to achieve your desired goal. This is very important to guarantee an optimal communication between us. We will try and send you a preview of your project in the fastest time possible, but please allow a whole week of work for a single image to be produced. Ideally, we would like to start working on the project on Monday, so to be able to send you a preview if possible on Thursday and allow Friday for eventual corrections. Now, With our team, we are sure that if we start working on a Monday, of course, within a certain artistic frame, put it that way, that we are able to deliver 1 or 2 images of the same project in 1 week. Of course, working more people, you can produce more images, but the idea here is to establish some sort of timeline. Why? Because the designer might come to you, the architect, on Thursday and say, I want the images by Monday. Now, this is your call. If you really need the money, if you are desperate and you want to work on weekends. But then again, we should talk about this, because ideally you need to set some ground rules, which are you work Monday to Friday, this is who you are, and this is who you want to be, okay? Now, it's a lot of people say, no, you don't understand, designers always come at the weekends and they don't want to pay. Yeah, but this is one part of the clients. I guarantee you, on our end, most of our clients, they come and they respect the fact that we work Monday to Friday, and Saturday and Sunday we are simply not available, okay? Because we have built our company in that way. It's not because we have done it by luck, okay? It was a clear decision that we have made and we are able to live with. Of course, if we need the money and we're desperate ourselves, say that there is a law in our scope of work for the month, we might as well accept that kind of work. But usually 98% of the time, we try to stick to the Monday to Friday kind of routine. I'm looking at the... Thank you. Increase the mic volume. Yeah, more than this, I don't know how to increase it. Maybe you guys tried... Is the mic too low? I don't know. Anyway, I'll continue speaking because the mic is at the highest. And also I'm Italian. I should be loud enough. Okay, let's continue. Okay, as I was saying, I have a couple of side notes. It's okay. Okay, great. So, in this part that I just discussed, you have to be careful because the client might not be as structured as you, as I just mentioned. So they might say, I need the images on Monday. In that case, it is up to you to understand if you want to work on the project or not. But before you do accept that and you accept the price offer that the client might make to you, understand that if you're working on the weekend, you're basically not only creating images, you're also sorting out a problem for the client, which is bad time management. Because your client should not put himself in a position where they need the images on a Monday morning to go for a meeting, okay? Maybe the client is under pressure and is just saying this because they have no control over their own timeline. But what we have found out is that the moment you tell the client that it's not possible to have an image on Monday, they will always go back and say, okay, what about Wednesday? Then you can discuss it with your own team and say, okay, maybe Wednesday, can we do it? Yes, no, up to you, all the time. Good, let's move on. Then, of course, in the same PDF, I say more images of the same project can be produced within the same time frame, which is this week time frame, if you wish to do so. We just need to plan this ahead so to organize our stuff accordingly. Now, I don't mention anything about money here because if the client then complains that he has to pay more for more images, I simply tell them I have to have more staff working on this project. If they don't accept that, they're playing a game, okay? Because everybody understands that if somebody's working, you need to pay them. So you should understand that the client is trying to, using some sort of client BS to get a better deal from you. Don't bulge, okay? It's as simple as that. Great. So, again, if you're a freelancer, you might not be able to say something like this because, you're a freelancer. Your goal should be as a freelancer anyway to build some sort of network with which you can actually supply to a job request like this one. Say you get to know somebody at a conference or at a drink up or one of your old colleagues. Try to keep good relationship with this person, so if a project comes in, you can actually share it with that person. Don't think that you can do everything by yourself. Very often people burn out because of this attitude. They think I can do everything, it's gonna be money that I'm gonna put in my pocket. Again, in that case, money doesn't have the same value as you being able to deliver a good project with a good, put it this way, soul, like with a good consciousness, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's not only about the money. Trust me, it's not only about the money. Try to remove that from your head. I'm not saying to you that you should work for free, but try to understand when money really has the value that you think it carries, okay? That's all I'm saying. Good. Any questions? Is planning random time? Okay, maybe we should probably answer that later. Is planning render time driven or level of love per image? I'm not really sure what you mean by that. Can you please rephrase it so I can try to think of something? Anyway, I'll continue reading this. Good. Then I say, as I already mentioned at the end of the design and visualization process, if this is on Monday, the end should be by Thursday, the latest. We will present you with a preview image for you to review. Now, this fits our workflow because we produce 95% of our work in 3D and we do very little post-production. So, the preview, it's usually a watermarked image at a smaller resolution so that, if they're happy, we produce a higher image, a higher resolution image, which usually doesn't take that long, Everybody has V-Ray or whatever other software rendering times now. If you're a professional and if you have a computer that can make professional renderings and not a laptop, and I'm saying this because people are asking me, how do you become a freelancer with a laptop? It's like me trying to answer, how do you become a Formula 1 pilot with a Fiat Uno? You cannot do that, okay? It's as simple as that. Guys, I should really start filter my questions a little bit better. Okay, so then I'll say, as already mentioned, at the end of the design visualization process, we'll present you with an image for as a preview for review. In case you notice that something about this image does not reflect your vision accurately, you have the chance to let us know. We reserve Friday mainly for reviews. Now, this part, it's one of those parts that we are currently testing. I say we include 2 rounds of changes which we will use to tune the image until it reaches your desired standard. But talking to some of my colleagues at the moment, they are reducing this round of changes to 1, because if the image that you produce really is that good and you do manage the conversation with the client might have only 1 round of change. The second one becomes useless, because if the client really says, listen, this sky, I don't like it, I want it more blue, or please remove all the people from there. If you do it and then the client doesn't like it, after you have consulted him, you can tell him, look, I did tell you that it was not going to work. Now the change you have used it, either you go back to the previous image or you take this one. So the client effectively has 2 choices anyway. This you can do it at the moment you are good at what you do. In the video that I did 80/20, I described the way I produce my images. So I send the client a very complete image that the client can then, see if the image is good, is bad, or if I made a huge mistake. In that case, it's my fault, I have to go back, but I guarantee you, more often than not, clients will respond much more positive to a very complete image other than, say, a clay render, okay? Because with the clay render, there is so much that the client is going to ask, what about the materials and the lights? And of course, we're deciding the camera. No, the client doesn't understand that. Send him a complete picture, and then the client will be able to give you a more complete reply, okay? This is my take. Maybe your way works better. I'm just trying to inspire you guys. Good. Then I tell them, this is the last part and then we're done. In case more changes are needed, we can definitely help, but this will be billed extra. The changes are then delivered on the following Tuesday, because we will require at least Monday and then Tuesday for the presentation. Modifications to a project are billed at 120 euros per hour, but you have to allow a time slot of at least 3 hours for us to make these modifications, as we might have to push some projects back to prioritize your wish. Now, this is very important to say, because you need to make sure that the client requires the changes because he really strongly believes in them. Because if he just trying to fish changes, free changes, the client will never stop, Good. Then in this part, it's usually tailor-made. So, I take the time to write it for each single client, in relationship to the interaction that we have based on the client request. We will be able to start working on this project on date. You put the date. Again, do not work on weekends. Just don't do it. Trust me on this one. Don't work on weekends. Put it in your head. It is vital during this period to have your availability either via email or phone in order for us to proceed smoothly with the entire cooperation. Very important, because if you're working on a project and there is information missing and the client is simply not answering, it is the client's responsibility to understand that the project is delayed and it's his fault. Okay? Very important to understand. Please notice that we don't work on weekends. I repeat it here. Our staff cannot be reached outside of working hours. This is also something that we really, really try. We give them our working times plus the zone where we're located. Sometimes we work with clients from abroad, so it's very important to have this established. We recommend for you to provide us with all the materials needed according to the described timeline. Then I include the timeline. You will see it, it's in the PDF, so that we can organize and brief our team on the task. Now, this, before we conclude, even if you're a freelancer, your goal should be not to work by yourself. You should always have 1 or 2 people that you work with, that you consult with on a daily basis. And this is because union, it's what makes you guys stronger. And I believe in this 100%. The projects that I struggled the most were those projects that I did on my own. The moment I was working with somebody, even though maybe I earned the half, they turned out to be better and they brought us more work. And in the long run, were those projects that allowed us to grow more. Okay? So this is very important. Once again, try to understand the monetary value against real value. What makes you better? What lets you grow? What makes you stronger? All this kind of stuff, okay? Good. To conclude the email, I say we have a proven track record of successful projects. We are sure that by the end of this collaboration, you will be stoked with the result. If anything is not clear or you need more info, you can reach me, email, telephone number, from Monday to Friday, 10 to 7. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Fabio Palvelli. I send it off. Sometimes, I include in the email, please sign the document and send it back. And then we have somebody following up on the phone call, which is very important, to have different people also interacting with the client. This really makes sure that the client understands that we're not joking, because clients very often what they do, they contact people thinking maybe it's a studio somewhere in Vietnam. Nothing against people of Vietnam, but and they try to get renderings for 100 euros per picture. we don't do that, of course, you know. And by having something like this, oh, I skipped a little part where I say usually a project like this will cost, and I give them basically a range, say between 1,000 and 1,500 euros. Why do I give them a range? Because, you know, if everything goes okay and I see that the communication is good and I do my calculation and I see how long it will take, I can say, okay, the project will probably be 1,200 euros per picture. But if I see that the client is not responsive or doesn't really care about the PDF, probably the client is not really that concerned about, say, the price. It just wants the work to be done. So I do put a little bit of a overhead in case, you know, it's not responsive. So I do tend to raise my prices with clients that are not collaborative because I'm taking a risk. And this is basically everything that you need to know about this PDF. Now, if you have any questions, I'm here for another 10 minutes. Super happy to answer them. So I'll try to go back a little bit to read. Fiat 1, yes, I know. Usually 3 rounds of changes for me. That's a lot of changes, man. Just imagine, you know, you're paying for 3 rounds of changes if each change comes, you know, for in one day, which is usually what happens with a client. The client will receive the image, look at it, maybe send you the changes in the afternoon. So either you work late at night or you have to work in the morning. So a change is a long time. 2 is already a lot. And I see that, you know, very often what we do, even though we tell the client 2 changes, we try to fight to keep the change to 1. And, you know, to really say, okay, we'll change also this, but then that's it. When do you go very far in an image? Is that because your library is complete enough to populate? Yes. There was a period in my career as a rendering guy, so to say, where I produced only assets. We were buying the cheapest assets that we were finding on the market. We were kind of rebuilding them or making better textures. We would scan textures, and we built a huge library. And, you know, we use, what is it called? Surface Spread, which is a great tool for like big buildings, you know, so we populate things very quickly. Or, you know, this is the beautiful thing about working with V-Ray's in my pipeline with Cinema 4D. V-Ray can eat everything. You know, it's a fantastic render engine, and these allow me to make a very complete image. Like, if you really think about it, once you make the materials, okay, once you make a couple of trees, cars, and people, yeah, of course, then you can start building on the narrative, and you know, you want to tell a story. But usually the clients that come to us, they're not really interested in that kind of stuff. So we might go back to some projects and adjust that for our own portfolio in order for us to train and to improve the way we will make a rendering if we had the time. But, you know, very often in a week of time to deliver a rendering, we don't have that kind of luxury. Yeah. So we don't do that. So yes, what we do, we have a lot of assets, like hundreds of thousands of billions of gallons of gigabytes. And we go and look for them. Very often it's like we use 20% of our library 80% of the time. You see this 20-80 rule. So, Christiana, hi, nice to see you. Do you take some prepayments? Yes, we do. 50%. That's what we ask. If the 50% is not there, our account manager calls them up and say, I cannot let the guy start working because the payment is not there. And I assure you the client will get on this. And I'm going to interview the guy that does the money part for us so that you can have a good idea. When you say you don't send clay whites, what do you send for camera options so that the client can choose the camera? Okay, the client usually makes a sketch of the camera that they want on the plan. We take that camera. If we like it, we go for it. Otherwise, we make our own version. And if the client says, yeah, but this is not 100% the camera that we did, we say, listen, the camera that you did not work. And if they then want to see it, which never happens, to be honest, because, changing a couple of degrees or like a meter where they put the camera, that's not what the client is after, And I had this talk with Mike Golden, which said to me, sometimes clients say it because, they have to say it, but no image was fixed by turning a camera 10 degrees. So, his approach is to say, if a client comes with something like this, Mike goes as far as producing 2 images and putting them side by side of 2 different cameras that kind of comprehend the whole angle. And then he will talk to the client and say, listen, your camera doesn't work. I can give you 2 images. We can make them a little bit bigger. It might cost you a little bit more, but this is a better solution. And if the client is intelligent enough, he will go for that solution. Otherwise, you just have to accept the fact that sometimes clients just don't want to listen. It's as simple as that. How do you manage to have growing resources, software stand out? It's just good for the structure. There is no good way. Like, we do have a server, but it's all a mess. It's sometimes it's really like the fact that I train myself so much to use always those few resources the way I do, that speeds up my workflow. And sometimes, if we really do want to try something new, we just buy it and it's faster. You go to good websites that have good resources. Even if you pay 20, 30 euros for a new chair, you will have that chair and in that rendering, and will be something that it's not going to look like the previous renderings that you've done. How do you estimate how much time will take to make a project? Any tips for estimation? Well, we managed to get to a decent image, because it's never like working 24/7 on an image. You always have other things that you have to do in the meantime. For me personally, not to burn out, I need at least 5 days to make one single image that it's good. Now, this is, with the experience of me working almost 10 years on this. But there were times where I made an image in a day. You do this for 1 year, at the end of the year you die. So I do not recommend you to do this. I made this video where I talked about research and development during the production process. This is something that doesn't come from me. Even Google has implemented this in their own working schedule. People at Google, they go and take naps, they play ping pong, they play PlayStation. And this is because in order for you to be creative throughout the whole process, you need to play a little bit yourself. So, sometimes we're working on a project and we completely stop working on the project. We try to do something else, and luckily enough, I have had people that were stimulating enough around me to kind of do that stuff. Otherwise, I wouldn't have survived. Hi, Thomas. Tell me how. Yeah, so I really hope the client wants the security cameras. I know. I recommend you, we have also a D2 conference channel, which is a YouTube channel where you can see when I ask other artists how they deal with this kind of questions regarding, crazy clients' ideas. I'm not sure when I'm going to publish the mic interview, probably in a month or something. But I recommend you go and check it out because it will be worth it. A lot of knowledge and a lot of... that guy really has his own take on things that I really like. And actually, his vision is actually making me question the things that I've already known and developed in my own workflow. So, needless to say, I might go myself back and edit this PDF. And the moment I have something that works a little bit better, I'll also put that available on the internet. I'm reading the questions. Get Nerf guns for the office. Yes, that's a great tip. Maybe it's probably crazy because I come here, but the name of the video mentioned PDF. Where can it? Yes, I'm going to upload this PDF. I just need to edit it because at the moment I have notes together with the PDF. I don't want to give it to you like this because some of the notes are like, learn to work from fucking Monday to fucking Friday. Usually I try to keep that kind of language away from my videos because I want to make them, children friendly. Maybe, make kids not watch Logan Paul but my videos instead. Educate them, give them something back. Although I think this is something that the whole community should do as a whole, But anyway, I hope you understand that I try to keep it also very easy to digest in terms of information. I don't want you to, creativity as a whole, it's something that you shouldn't be stiff, The moment you start putting limitations and, what do you call it? The moment you start limiting stuff just because somebody told you, I mean, everything that I've said here and that I shared here, it's for you to take apart, hack, and test, And if you do test it and it gets better, do tell others, okay? Because I really believe in this. My success, your success, is everybody's success. It's as simple as that. I hope that helps. Anyway, we're already more than 50 minutes in. If you don't have any more questions, I will switch off the recording because in half an hour I have a meeting. I really love the fact that you guys are tuning in. This time we have 40 people, which is fantastic. I wouldn't have thought so. I'm going to put a recording online. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys. Hopefully next week I'm gonna be able to release a new video. See you later.